What's up, guys? It's the Essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
And you guys are tuned into Caught
In Conversation.
Shaka Laka Laka. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 125 of Caught in Conversation. Driver picks the music and shotgun shuts his keiko. I, as always, am the Essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
And today we have a very fun conversation with Redshaw. Thank you once again to Redshaw, because as we record this intro on September 17th, we've just finished talking to Redshaw. This will obviously be out in about 2 weeks' time on September 29th or September 27th if you subscribe to the Patreon for as little as $5 a month.
$5 dude.
And that's Australian. It's $3 US. We do have a lot of US listeners, and we've got Russian and Irish and UK listeners.
And that Singapore wrestler.
Yeah, they're the one person from Singapore.
Listener.
Maybe they are a wrestler. Who knows?
Who knows?
But, you can always Google the currency conversion. But for $5 Australian, $3 US, I think US is the more common, the more current, common currency. That's what I was trying to say. That's all one take. That's what I was thinking, current, because currency, the more common currency. Say that 5 times fast and see if that doesn't twist your tongue. Say that 5 times fast in itself. Yes, but subscribe to the Patreon. You can get it 2 days earlier. And obviously, if you're listening to this on the Sunday, subscribe and then you'll get future episodes early. But today we're talking to Redshaw, and we have Driver picks the music. We literally spent about 10 minutes trying to pick the name, just to throw in like a little cheesy supernatural reference, just because that does come up in this conversation. Because obviously, if you've seen Redshaw, you will have seen that he does have a couple of supernatural tattoos. And as I said in the conversation, I'm a very casual fan, but Nova Lee is a massive fan. I think, honestly, we're due for a rewatch, as we were just saying. And I'll probably watch it with you, because I have seen 90% of it. But it'd just be nice to sit down and watch it in one clean shot now that it's finished. And
then finally watch the remake. And not the remake, the
spin-offs, yes. I mean, I'm sure they'll remake it eventually. They remake everything.
Don't fuck with a masterpiece. Anyway.
Miss Crossfire, would you like to hit us with the song and match of the week, and then you can explain why we've picked the song, and I'll explain why we've picked the match, and then get into doing all the introductions and get to this amazing conversation that we had with Redshaw.
Alrighty, so your song of the week for episode 125 is Carry On, Wayward Son by Kansas. And your match of the week is CM Punk versus Umaga. I'd say it weird. Usually I say it friggin' like British.
You actually
nailed it. I actually said it right. Umaga, not...
Umaga!
Strap match, Extreme Rules 2009.
So I think it's pretty obvious to explain why we picked the song, Miss Nova Lee. But if you'd like to explain why we picked the song anyway...
We picked the song because, Supernatural gets brought up. The name of the episode's Supernatural related. So I was like, carry on my wayward son is the song.
Yes, absolutely. And the reason that I've picked this match specifically is in this conversation, when we're talking about matches that Redshaw has seen, he brought up a strap match involving Big Brody Marshall at RCW that he was in the crowd for. Obviously, if you look at the grandscape of wrestling right now around us, one of the big matches that did just happen was Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk in a strap match at Bash at Berlin, or Clash of the Cars. Bash in Berlin, I think it was at. They're all blending together. But obviously that leads into CM Punk has only ever been in 2 strap matches, and he's won both of them. So why not make a callback with all of this bloodline stuff that's happening right now as well, and go to the Samoan Bulldozer Umaga, who apparently, if you believe the dirt sheets, his original manager, Armando Alejandro Estrada, has apparently just signed a Legends deal, and I'm already fantasy booking him managing Jacob Fatu or Hell, going full circle and managing Umaga's son Zilla Fatu, but that's neither here nor there. That's why I picked the match. It made sense in my ADHD brain that all of these webs were weaving and they come together. But Miss Nova Lee, I think we shouldn't fiddle fuck around anymore. I think we should get to this conversation with Redshaw. We should let this man tell his story. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together.
He is the former two-time RCW Emerald Crown holder, the two-time ACW Heavyweight Champion, and the two-time PWSA Champion, and also the RCW Key Holder to the City 2022. He's from South Australia, the White Rhino Redshaw.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the one and only, the White Rhino Redshaw. And I just want to thank you, Redshaw, because so far you're the only one that's actually filled out our shitty little application form as we record this episode. But I thought it was fun just to kind of put it out there, and it was an ADHD moment. And when I saw who it was that actually, because I got like the email saying that it had been filled out and that, so when I went in to actually look at the file and saw who it was, I was not going to lie, I kind of marked out a little bit, to be honest, seeing someone from RCW and, you know, just someone that's been a namesake in South Australia, which obviously I'm very, very far away from, but through the power of social media, both myself and Nova, we've kept an eye on that for quite a number of years now. So I kind of popped a little bit when I saw your name pop up there, but but I think we'll start it simple. How are you doing tonight, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm good, thank you. No, thanks for having me on. I saw your little call out for people, and you know, in this business, it's always good to reach out and help other people. So I know myself with podcasting and stuff, it is hard to get guests on and organise that sort of stuff. So yeah, happy to help out and jump on. So keen to get into it.
So I did put a call out for questions. I didn't get any questions that I saw, unfortunately, but we usually, when I have people on for the first time, we have 5 core questions, which we've so originally named the Core 5 because it's wrestling, that we kind of ask, and then we'll just kind of sprinkle a couple of little things in here and there. But yeah, I think we've got a nice little handful of questions, but we always ask the same question for first-time guests. We always ask the same question. It's a very basic, generic podcast question, but I think it's always a great icebreaker for the listeners, and it's just very simple. And that's, Redshaw, what was your earliest wrestling memory?
In primary school, probably would have been, I had a mate that was fully into it, was decked out in all the gear, had all the games, all the DVDs and stuff like that. So, one day just over his house, saw the wrestling on and started watching it and got involved. Got around that and started, stealing all these DVDs and games, and from then on it sort of kicked off, and then was following it sort of ever since, on and off from then.
What kind of like time frame was that for you?
That was the early 2000s. So would have been the PS2 games, Here Comes the Pain, that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Watching a lot of that, and the early 2000s SmackDown was my go-to. So whenever I could get some of these tapes or DVDs, was all over that, and then would start collecting my own from there.
So obviously this is going to go out in a couple of weeks, but the episode that just came out this week, as we're recording this, Here Comes the Pain actually came up, and it was so weird because I had this conversation where I was a child of the Attitude Era, and then I kind of just fell off for a few years just because I never had, Foxtel or Ozstar back in the day, what it was called. So when I played SmackDown Here Comes the Pain for the first time with my friends, and that was the first time I'd ever seen Rey Mysterio. And I didn't realize that these were real people and like real wrestlers until coming across just a random video that my mate showed me where John Cena was rapping in late 03, early 04, but Here Comes the Pain has been shouted so many times. I've got my PS2 next to my PS4, and it's either Here Comes the Pain or SmackDown vs. Raw 07, but one of the two is actually sitting in it right now. So that pops me right there. That's a good, so very early Ruthless Aggression era. That I still argue, there's always the debate of, go back to the Attitude Era. For me, and I could just be nostalgia, but I always go to the Ruthless Aggression era more. That's a pretty good era to start on for you, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. And it was, I guess it wasn't like the Attitude Era. There was so much going on at all times. I guess it calmed down a little bit, so it was a little bit easier to follow. And I guess with the quality of the videos and stuff as they progressed, it was a lot easier to watch. But it's so good to go back and, watch that old stuff now and catch up on all that old stuff that I didn't see back then. So, it was a good time to get into it and good time to start following.
Alrighty, so I've got a question for you now. So what was the deciding factor that got you into the business, and when did you decide that you wanted to do it, Redshaw?
So I grew up in a small country town, so I didn't really know that wrestling existed in Australia as something you could do until I moved to Adelaide, and then I was working in a gym alongside another fellow wrestler called Rocky Monero.
Ooh,
bit of a legend around the place.
Aussie wrestling royalty, honestly.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about him at the time, and then I found out through someone else that he was a wrestler, and he saw that I liked wrestling and started telling me about himself, and then I started going to the Riot City shows and, finding out that was actually a thing you could do, meeting some of the other wrestlers, and then finding out about the school, the academy, all that sort of stuff. So that was sort of, once I started going to those shows and seeing that it's actually a possibility and I'm someone who was in a shape that could probably go and do it, I went and done a tryout, and that was it. That was the way in.
How long did you train, Redshaw, before you made your debut?
So I think it was about just a little over a year. Yeah, I think it was about a year maybe, about just over a year of training before my debut match. But I actually was a referee for about 6 months before my first match, so had a lot of in-ring experience before actually having a match, which was good.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome.
Who did you debut against?
It was against James Cray. At Riot City. So it was. We had a bit of a storyline. I was a referee for a lot of his matches. He kept trying to take his anger out on me every time he lost, and eventually took it too far, and it was had to put him in his place, and that was the start of my matches.
See, I like that. That's some old school storytelling there. Like I myself, my half-assed wrestling career, I started as a referee. I was a much better referee than I was a wrestler, but that's another story for another day. But I always say to people, like a lot of rookies, they get, I guess dejected might be the word to use when, they're stuck and they're just being a ref and they want to wrestle and they want to do this and they want to do that. But I always say that, well, one, I think it's the most important job in terms of front of house, but in terms of just the ring awareness and the stuff like that, I think being a referee is probably the number one job that people should put their hands up to do if they are wanting to take that step to be a wrestler personally.
100%. Any referee especially, because you're in the ring, you're in front of the crowd, you're in there with normally with great workers, and you can see how they interact and work and how they react to the crowd and stuff like that. So you start to learn so much more than just you do at your training. But any opportunity that you're given as a rookie, whether it is camera, just running the gear back to the stage, all that sort of stuff, anything you can do that gets you into right in there into the business, into the back end of it, even if it's just working the canteen. Like I worked the merch before I was a referee, and sitting there and watching the shows from that angle, you learn so much that you can then carry on into your own career. So any rookies out there that given that job, don't turn it down. Don't turn your nose up to it, because you never know. Like myself as a referee, there was a storyline built into that. So things can happen as you're a cameraman, something like that. Stories can happen, and you could be having a match before you even know it. And you've learned so much from being so close to the wrestlers in the crowd already.
I do like that, because obviously my wife Nova here, she's done 2 shows now of ring announcing, and she's about to do a third in a couple of months. But even she kind of joked about wanting to get into the business, and then just the show she was serious. She was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do cameras and I'm gonna do canteen and I'll do this and I'll do that." And I'm like, dude, why is my wife throwing more fucking boards on the truck than the wrestlers? But that's another story for another day. But I love that you had the built-in story with the refereeing. That's some old school type mentality with that. That's really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was very privileged to get that, and that wasn't the plan. Sort of going in, we just sort of I was thrown in a situation to be sort of a guest enforcer referee out of the blue in a Rocky Monero match, and then they said, "I'll just keep being a referee for a bit so you can learn a few things," and then we just sort of built a story from there. So it wasn't the plan going in. So I'm lucky that I was able to show that I was dedicated and really wanted to be in it, and then they rewarded me with something like that. So just goes to show you got to put in that work, and you always get something in the end.
And just kind of leading on from that, what was your favourite match of all time, both that you've had personally and that you've seen, whether that be on TV or live or both?
So probably one of my favourite matches I've been involved in. I had a one-on-one with Rocky Monero in my first year for the Riot City Championship. So that I still hold that as one of my favourite matches. I've also been involved in a lot of we've done a lot of fringe shows over here. So the Adelaide Fringe is a very big arts and culture festival that runs over a month here in Adelaide. So we do a lot of shows there. So I've been involved in a lot of 8-man tags, main eventing the fringes and stuff like that. That's been an awesome experience. And also we do a festival here called the Beer and Barbecue Festival, which is pretty much all the beer vendors around Australia sort of come in, and the barbecues and all that. And we hold some wrestling there. So we've had some awesome fun matches there because at the festival we sort of get a bit looser and have a bit more fun. So we've had a lot of like a 6-man tag where it was a team of Redshaws against a team of party guys. We all dressed in each other's gear, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Hell yeah, that's some Halloween showtime stuff.
Yeah, just festival, got all drunk idiots out there, so you just want to give them a good entertainment, nothing too serious. So that's always a bit of fun. Matches that I've watched, that was my favourite matches, probably the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels matches from WrestleManias, and the Bret Hart Stone Cold. That's probably my favourite matches off the top of the head, for like big time WWE stuff. Local matches. I saw, when I was a fan in the crowd at Riot City, I saw a strap match between Big Brody Marshall and Tyler Daniels, and that was pretty cool. And they were fighting all through the crowd and doing some crazy stuff. So that was a real highlight of mine as a fan. That really got me hooked into it.
Brody's got a habit of going out into the crowd for those big brawl type matches.
So good.
Yeah,
I got to
definitely.
see him at World Series in I think it was 2018, and it was my first time ever seeing him. And he went into the crowd, and I can't even remember who he faced, so I feel terrible now. But I've got a photo where oh my god, I can't even think of who it was, but Matt Rogers, I think it was. Could be wrong. It was some big dude in Sydney anyway. But there's a great photo where I can't remember who was doing the headlock, but they've both literally posed in the aisleway for the photo because they see me with the camera out and everything, and it was just freaking awesome. It's one of my favorite photos that I've ever taken. But I was like, man, this guy's awesome, and then I had people that were more familiar with Brody be like, oh, Brody does all the time. That's just his that's just his thing. He just likes brawling, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, no, he loves going out in the crowd. He loves brawling. Top worker, and hopefully we see him in the ring again pretty soon. He's had a lot of trouble, near neck injuries and stuff like that. So hopefully we can see him back in there one day soon, because I'd love to have a match with him. I haven't had a one-on-one, so that'll be a goal of mine.
If I could just throw in a bonus question just to kind of bring this back to you, because I don't know if you're familiar with this podcast, but it is very much... We enjoy marking out here on this podcast, and that's why the motto is for the marks, by the marks. But if we can try and bring this back to your story, Redshaw, just as a bonus question, do you have any favourite matches or matches that are sentimental to you in terms of matches that you have refereed?
Probably my first match that I refereed. Obviously, it was a big moment. Being out there, thrown into the deep end sort of thing. It was an unsanctioned match, so sort of the main event, sort of not. and thrown out there. Had to take a super kick, and then come back in later and count the three and that sort of stuff, and get involved with the wrestlers. So that holds a big place in my heart, because being the first one. And then probably there was a match between Chris Basso and Rocky Monero. It comes up a lot, and it was for the RCW title. I think it was, maybe not, but anyway, I was refereeing that, and Rocky got in my face and gave me a bit of a slap around, and I was able to pick him up and power slam him to help Chris get the win. So that was, and it was on my birthday actually at the same time, which was great. So that's probably one of those two matches hold a big place in my heart for when I was refereeing, because they sort of got me to, obviously got my start, and then got me to showcase my now finishing move, and then throw down with some of the best wrestlers around Australia.
So that's pretty crazy though, that you got to kind of, rub shoulders with someone of the status of Rocky Monero, that early in your career. So before I go on to the next question, just who have you learnt the most from in RCW and just working with in general?
Yeah, so probably obviously started with Rocky. He sort of brought me in, took me under his wing a little bit, and then from there it was the Basso boys, Matt and Chris Basso, and then nowadays it's sort of Matt Hayter and Mike Boomer, and Nick Armstrong as well. They're sort of like the coaches and the mentors around the place at the moment. So those guys have helped me out a lot, especially Matt and Boomer. They put a lot of time into me and helped me out. So, grateful for them, and they've really paved the way to where I am now, and keeping me instead to sort of bigger and better things, hopefully.
Hell yeah. Now, as I said, this is for the marks and by the marks, but there's a couple of names, I should say, that are now pretty famous. One of them is extremely famous, that has come from RCW, and obviously Nova Lee here is a massive Rhea Ripley mark, and obviously Jonah Rock, Bronson Reed is also from the South Adelaide area. What does it mean to you seeing people on that level of success, knowing that they've forged the same path essentially that you're walking right now? And following on from that, do you have aspirations to hopefully follow in those footsteps?
Yeah, it's amazing that there's so many Australians over there in WE, especially South Australians. Sort of Rhea Ripley had gone before I started at Riot City, so I didn't really get to get in there and train with her and stuff like that. So obviously it meant a lot that someone from Riot City had gone on to go there, but I guess it didn't really hit home as much as when Delta sort of got signed and left, because I was already there when Delta started. Got to train with her, saw her come up and turn into what a superstar she is now. So, having those guys before was an amazing achievement for us and something to strive to. But then having one of your friends that you've trained with and everything and wrestled go and leave and get signed, that was something that really made us proud and was proud that I could be a part of that. I myself, if an opportunity ever comes up, yes, I would never say no. I'm really working hard to get myself known around Australia sort of first, sort of work wherever I can around Australia and get a name for myself and work in the bigger companies. And then if any overseas opportunities present themselves, I definitely won't say no, and I'll definitely have plans to hopefully travel somewhere in the near future, whether that be America or Japan or somewhere, but hopefully can start getting some reps out around the world.
Because even just as an outsider, seeing, or even hearing when you're watching, whether it be WWE or AEW, New Japan, whatever, but you hear a lot in the mainstream of wrestling now, hearing Riot City by name get named, and even just as an Australian wrestling fan, it makes me being with pride. So I can't imagine what you guys over there are, feeling and, basically being able to experience that. But does that put any Do you feel like that's put any pressure on you or any of the other guys around you to kind of up your game, so to speak?
Definitely a little bit. Since they've been starting to name drop our company on pay-per-views and our trainers, the Bassos and stuff like that. So knowing that these past superstars have come from the coaches that we have, and now there's eyes on us because our company name is getting dropped all around the place. It's definitely we've not so much I guess it has put pressure on us, but we've also put pressure on ourselves and on each other. We're trying to push each other to be better and better because we hold our company in high standard and we really want to make everyone around us rise with the tide sort of thing. So, yeah, definitely there is some outside pressure, but a lot of that pressure is we're put on ourselves and we're pushing each other to be better and better. And we can see that from the wrestlers to the referees to the announcers to the camera crew. It just keeps getting better and better, and it's something that we're very proud of, and something that we're going to keep pushing and get Riot City and our wrestlers and staff well known everywhere.
That's awesome. I have another question for you as well. It's just, who is your ultimate dream opponent, and what is your dream stipulation?
Ultimate dream opponent. Yeah, it's probably a few. In Riot City alone, I haven't had a one-on-one match with Chris Basso or Nick Armstrong yet. I've had run-ins in tags and different stuff, but never sort of had that one-on-one, 20-minute sort of banger match with those guys. So I would love to face those two one-on-one. Around Australia, probably anyone like a Davis Storm or I'm blanking on a name right now. Damien Slater, those sort of guys that have been around for a very long time. I've wrestled a lot of matches, but I still haven't scratched the surface even here in Adelaide of people that are to wrestle yet. So those guys probably are high on the list. And stipulation would be a steel cage match.
It's a very popular one,
Yeah,
especially on this podcast.
Yeah, I'd say that would be. I get that answer a lot too. But, steel cage match would be amazing. I've had some hardcore and no DQ matches and all that sort of stuff. But you watch the Hell in the Cells and the cages as a kid and now it's something that you always dream of getting into. So that would be 100%, steel cage match.
Talking about hardcore matches, if I can just throw in another bonus question, I'm so sorry, Nova, but you talk about doing hardcore matches and stuff. What's been the worst bump that you've taken so far?
Worst bump. I've been on a table when someone's tried to jump on it and put me through it and it didn't break. That was fun because my head decided to bounce off the table as well. So that wasn't the greatest. So that's probably up there. I took a scoop slam onto a stage, just a band stage, because we were doing there was like a festival gig that we did where it was bands would play and then we would wrestle and then bands would play and stuff like that. And at the end of the night, a few of us got up on stage and was being some idiots and carrying on with the band and mucking around. And then Delta decided to pick me up and try and throw me through the stage. And that messed up my back pretty bad. So that was probably one of my worst bumps. All my fault. I didn't bump properly, but it's all a dance. So that's probably one of my worst bumps, and being on that table that didn't break wasn't fun.
Yeah, no, that would have been solid. That would have hurt so much.
Delta in general, though, seems like she'd be scary to be slammed by.
Ooh,
just in general.
Oh yeah, it's a beast. Yeah.
And now we're getting towards like the tail end of it. So we always officially end our pods with a non-wrestling related question. We actually have two. Just before we get into the plugs, I've noticed you have a supernatural tattoo. Tell us a little bit more about it and who is your favourite character? Because as soon as I saw that, I was like, hey.
I've got obviously the big one that the boys have. I've also got a little mark of Kane as well. So I've got a couple supernatural tattoos. Watched all the series and love it. Probably my favourite character would be Dean. If not Dean, probably Castiel is one of my favourites.
Yes.
But yeah, absolutely love the show. Watched all the series, watched all the spin-offs, everything like that, and got the tattoos obviously because of the love of the show, but also the meaning behind the tattoos is also something that I like and sort of use that meaning as well. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, nice.
I love that he said Dean though, because I'm a
Dean's
very
my
casual fan of Supernatural, but like my dream car is literally Dean's car, and that was before I'd even seen the show. Like every time someone would say that, I'd be like, oh, they'd be like, oh, you're a Supernatural fan, and I'd be like, what? It took me so many years to watch it, and then realize that he literally had my dream car without me even knowing. But like, even when I go to get my haircut, I go in and I'm like, give me that Jensen Ackles from Supernatural.
And my second parter for that one was, it ties back into your wrestling persona, but you call yourself the White Rhino, and that's actually John's favourite animal. Mine's red pandas, and we just wanted to know, what's your favourite animal, Redshaw?
My favourite animal is actually a penguin.
Yes!
Cool!
So far from a rhino, but penguins and sort of any sort of bird, pigeons, but penguin would be my favourite.
Honestly, I wasn't expecting that, because like on the surface you're a big rugged looking individual, but that popped me. I've actually, like, when we went to, I've been back and forth to Sydney for medical appointments for 3.5 years now, and I've been out of work for 2.5 years. But on one of the medical trips this year, we were like, thought we'd make the most of it. We're in the city. We actually went to the aquarium, and in the vlog that I did, cheap plug, we actually caught two cameras kissing on vlog, and it was like the most adorable thing of all time. I've actually still got it on my phone. I'll actually send it to you after we get off here. Like, I was just like, it was so cute, because I was just like, oh my God. It was just so funny. Everyone was laughing because, like, it's just big burly dude was just melting over over the penguins. But
they're cool. They're definitely cool birds.
But as we go kind of like into the plugs and everything, who are some people that you think we should be looking out for, not just in Riot City, but in South Australia in general, in your opinion?
Obviously, apart from all the big names that a lot of people know, there's a few that are on the rise that should be watching. From Riot City, we got Vincent Di Maria, Snacks, Mr. Cliff. Those three guys are really killing it at the moment, doing some great things. So they're three to watch. Amber, she's the spooky girl. She's doing a great job, and she's really up in her game. So she's someone to watch. And then also, what else is there? There's so many great talent in SA at the moment. It's great to see. People like Leah Lovegrove coming up from Wrestle Rampage. She's really starting to hit her strides, and be one to watch in the next couple of years as well. So, yeah, just keep an eye on those sort of people, and also just the SA scene in general. Riot City, Wrestle Rampage, ACW. Those companies are really taking it up a notch, and they're doing some great things there. So it's always great content. I think we put all our shows, Riot City put all our shows out on YouTube for free to watch. I think ACW and Rampage are putting theirs up there as well. So a lot of free content on YouTube that you can hit up for SA Wrestling and watch and see all these guys, and then pick your favourites and follow from there.
I actually just recently started watching some of the RCW shows on YouTube. I think I randomly started at like mid-2021 or early 2022, around there, and then I just started going from consecutively from there. But I didn't realize I actually technically did have a question sent in. I didn't know why this didn't come up in notifications. I was just scrolling through the podcast Facebook page, and I did actually get a question, and I don't know what to make of this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It's from Adam Bruns, and it says, why do the Riot City fans chant, twist his dick? I don't know what to make of this question, but I'm going to ask it because it was there.
What was that? Sorry, what they chant?
It says, why do Riot City wrestling fans like to chant twist his dick? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that.
I have no idea. I don't hear that
so
one a lot.
it's obviously not happening during Redshaw matches then.
No, probably maybe in a Matt Hayter match because he loves to smack people with his groin. So maybe when they get hold of him,
might be a Matt Hayter question then.
Yeah, so that's a very niche question, but
it was just
I'm unsure.
It just says the exact quote is, "Why do Riot City wrestling fans like to chant twist?" Okay, well, sorry, Adam, my Redshaw doesn't have an answer to that because he has no idea what you're talking about.
No, but we tried.
I tell you what, though, some of the like obviously, as I said, I'm like New South Wales / ACT based. I'm kind of like halfway between New South Wales and Victoria, but a lot of the time it's ACT based. But when we went to World Series Wrestling this past, was it July? We went June, July. I can't even keep track. But we're obviously up in the cheap seats, so there was a lot of people there that were just not usually wrestling fans. A lot of casual wrestling fans just up in the rafters, just drunk, looking for a good night. And some of the like random ass chants that Australians come up with is it's just insane to me. It was, on one hand it was annoying, but on the other hand it was just hilarious. Some of the random stuff people were coming out to. So maybe that's just another part of that. I know there's some sort of meme out there to do with that, but yeah, I got nothing. Sorry, Adam. Redshaw doesn't know what you're talking about. That's a Matt Hayter question from the sounds of things.
Yeah, maybe he was at one show that it got chanted out and it stuck with him, but yeah.
He's just went to run one show, but for some reason he thinks it's been at every show. Oh, wrestling. My God. But where can we find you, Redshaw? This episode's going to drop on Sunday the 29th. Yes, I'm looking at the calendar. Sunday the 29th, this episode will drop. So do you have anything coming up that we can kind of promote, and then we'll get into your social medias and your merch and just, you know, all the fun stuff so people can follow along and just get to know who you are and hopefully see you perform?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got the next events for Riot City. We've got a show October 5th at the Goodwood Community Centre here in Adelaide. So it's going to be a pretty big show. And then a couple of weeks after that, we're actually going on a bit of a road trip to some country towns, Tumby Bay and Port Lincoln. So we're going to be doing a 2-day, or we're doing a 4-day road trip where we drive down on the 18th to the 20th of October. So down under, one of the legends of South Australian wrestling, he is from Tumby Bay. So doing a bit of it. We've done it a couple of years ago and it was a great time. So we're doing a bit of a homecoming trip for him again, travelling down, doing a Tumby Bay one night and Port Lincoln the next night. So country towns, everyone shows out for them. Just a couple of weeks ago we were in Mount Gambier for the Armstrong boys. That's their hometown. And that was a massive show, massive turnout. So we like to take our company on the road. So those are our next 2 events coming in October. So if anyone's in Adelaide, come down October 5th. I don't know if anyone will be from Tumby Bay or Port Lincoln listening to this, but if you are, good. But they'll be on YouTube anyway after they, our production team, I'll just give them a shout out because they are amazing. They have the shows up within a week of us doing them, and their quality and production is amazing. So they also have a website called The Vault, which has all old Riot City shows that they've actually pulled from like DVDs and stuff like that and put up on YouTube and on the website for people to watch. So stuff from early 2000s and stuff like that. So just give those guys a bit of a shout out for myself because they are killing it and they do an amazing job, and we'll be buggered without those guys.
If I remember when I heard this, I'll try and put their info and stuff.
Yeah, if you could chuck The Vault up there, that would be amazing. But yeah, like I said, everything's on YouTube as well, so guys can check out Riot City and all the other companies. For myself, just Redshaw Pro on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or X, or whatever you call it these days. So yeah, you find me on there. Mainly active on Instagram the most. So yeah, if you got anything like that, give us a follow, give us a message, whatever you want. And yeah, that's pretty much me. No merch at the moment, but maybe working on some stuff in the future with the White Rhino persona.
I mean, if you put a rhino in general on a shirt, I'm probably going to buy one from you. I think that's just a given. But do you have any aspirations of coming interstate anytime soon, or are you just kind of trying to focus on SA currently?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in New South Wales not long ago, actually.
For Wrestle Strong.
Wrestle Strong Dojo, yep. So that was a great time. So I go there from time to time. Those guys look after me, so it's always good to go there and catch up with them. But nothing in the book at the moment. But I'm definitely reaching out and touching base with different people and trying to organise stuff. So it may not be this year, but hopefully, definitely next year, I'll be getting into state as much as I can. So yeah, always want to travel, always want to work. Like I said earlier, try and get my name out there as much as I can interstate, and get as many eyes on me as possible. So always up for interstate travel, and hopefully get some going later the year or early next year.
I mean, if Slam or Extreme Capital Wrestling are listening, bring Redshaw over to the nation's capital, because I'd love to see him in action, but I'd also love the opportunity to potentially call one of his matches and just, silently mark out on the inside, because that's just who I am. I'm a mark that somehow managed to squeeze his way into the business, and I appreciate every moment that I've gotten. But before we end this, Redshaw, do you think we could just kind of, obviously we've got all your accolades and stuff, which when we put the episode together, Nova Lee will rattle it off with her best ring announcer impression, but do you have any kind of parting words that you can kind of use to just describe yourself, or, explain who you are to the people before we wrap this up, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So, virtually, the White Rhino is just my persona now is no bullshit, no gimmicks. Get in there, cause as much harm as possible. Win or lose doesn't really matter at the moment. All I'm doing is trying to just take my anger and frustration out that's been building for a long time. Sort of been held back by some people, tag team partners, managers, that sort of stuff. So now it's time to sort of unleash the beast and, take back what should be mine. So just destroying anyone I can on my way to whatever that is, if that's titles or whatever. But at the moment, it's just trying to cause as much mayhem and chaos as possible. So that is Redshaw, the White Rhino, pretty much, in a nutshell.
He's just looking to fuck shit up.
Yeah, pretty much. Take out the anger that got held back for such a long time.
Yeah, because usually the last official question is usually the non-wrestling ones, but just you kind of semi-answered it there. But is that where the name White Rhino came from? Was just because you kind of, I guess the other analogy you could use is bull in a china shop, but is where exactly did the White Rhino part of that fit into all of that?
Yeah, so mainly just because they're big dominant beasts, but also they hang out by themselves. So they like to be alone. So that's something that I like to be left alone and just do my own thing. So yeah, combining those two sort of aspects of the force and nature of such a beast, and then obviously the sedentary of just trying to be alone and that sort of stuff, and not have people piss you off. So combining those two was sort of the inspiration for that.
So that's not a bad idea. And in saying that, they are about to go extinct, or actually I think they are extinct now. If you ever kind of put another layer on that as like a heel, you can basically be like, well, I'm one of a kind or limited edition or something like that as well. That's kind of cool. I was just curious myself, but do you have anything else to add to this, to ask Nova?
No, I think I pretty much asked everything.
I saw the brain kind of ticking, but I think you were just going to ask the same. Same thing that I was.
yeah,
My
yeah.
apologies. Oh, forever cutting off my wife on this podcast, Redshaw. I'm a terrible, terrible co-host.
No, all good.
But no, man, I appreciate you jumping on, and I really hope that, you know, if someone somewhere that's near me books this man so I can see him in action. Because as I said, I have been following your journey for a few years now, you know, through the power of social media, and I've followed you, I think, on every single social media now that I've gone through, now that we've teed up this conversation. There's so many people where I'll follow them on like my personal account, or I follow them on Facebook but not Instagram, or vice versa. There's so many freaking socials now to try and keep an eye on. But I think I've got you on just about all of them now, along with, you know, the Riot City, you know, pages and stuff themselves, as well as, you know, other Adelaide promotions as well. But yeah, I can't wait to continue watching you grow, because like I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm just a mark with a microphone and a mark with an opinion. But you honestly, when I watch you perform, you don't look like someone that's only been around for 6 years. You look like someone that's been around for a lot longer. That's just coming from my humble fan opinion. I'm sure there's someone in the basement there that disagrees, but hey, it's wrestling.
Yeah, no, exactly. Can't please everyone, but no, thank you very much. Appreciate you having me on, and you know, without guys like yourselves, you know, helping get people out there and promote people, you know, we all have a role in this business, and it doesn't matter if you're in the ring or not. You know, fans of the podcast and stuff like that. It's great to see, and I hope you guys keep up the great work. And yeah, if anyone from Slam's listening, I've been knocking on your door already, so hopefully they let me in. But no, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the kind words, and hopefully one day can get down there and meet you guys in person and get to those companies. But no, keep up the great work, guys.
Thank you very much, mate. You enjoy the rest of your night.
No problem. Thank you. You too.
See you. Bye.
See ya.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the White Rhino Redshaw, and can I just say, like, not to be super biased here, but that intro you guys heard from one and only Nova Lee, I think that says it around it before. I think she got a bit tripped up because there was almost too much information. Damn you, Redshaw.
All the
and
accolades,
damn all your
dude.
accolades.
My dude.
It is worth mentioning though, Nova Lee, something that we didn't mention in the conversation, and literally the moment we ended this conversation, I messaged Redshaw straight away, was we didn't make a note to mention his podcast, and I felt absolutely terrible. But if you subscribe to his YouTube channel, which will be in the description, and I'll get to all the other links in a moment, but I'll do this one first just to make sure it's over and plugged. His, I guess it's a podcast. It's a video cast. The video is there. You can hear it. You can watch it on YouTube. Beers and Brawls, where Redshaw sits down and he does the interviewing, and he talks to some pretty freaking big names in Adelaide and South Australian wrestling, and I mean Australian wrestling in general, but obviously South Australian based. There was Delta, who was mentioned a few times in this conversation. There was Banjo Powers, who originally was in New South Wales at WrestleStrong, where Redshaw has travelled to a few times, but obviously Banjo is now relocated. He's done a few parts with him. He's done Savannah Summers, one of the biggest names for women in Australian wrestling. And he's talked to, obviously, Dean Brady, Einar the Strange. His very first episode was with Down Under. There's so many names, and if I try and mention them all, I'm probably going to miss some of them. But there was some pretty big names in this list that, honestly, I was popping at when I went through this list. So definitely go have a look at that. But with that being said, Nova Lee, do you want to quickly give us the song and match of the week, and we can hit the plugs and just make sure we cram all of this in, because I'm sorry, Redshaw. He did message me back and he's like, no, it's fine, but I feel terrible. Like literally, it was like the second that I hung up, Nova Lee went, "Oh shit, that's literally
what I wanted to ask him.
That's literally what it was. There was something there.
I couldn't remember.
And I'm so sorry, but Beers and Brawls is his YouTube channel. He's up to, as of this recording, 47 episodes, and he said to me that he does one a month. So definitely check that out. But if you want to hit the song and match of the week, we'll explain again why we've picked it. You can maybe explain why we picked the match now that I've explained it to you. If you can somehow explain it better than I did.
It, but yeah.
But yeah, explain it. Tell us what the song of the match of the week were, and we'll hit all these plugs properly.
Alrighty.
I'm really not doing good with my words today.
So the song for episode 124 was Carry On My Wayward Son.
25.
By, 125, my bad. I'm trying to focus here, mate. Episode 125, Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. And the match of the week was CM Punk versus Umaga. Strap match, Extreme Rules 2009. I
love that you say it properly both times in the intro and the outro.
I had to question myself because I used to go Yamunga.
Yeah,
like I sounded more British.
You did the William Regal.
I'm just If
anyone watched wrestling in that, and that's probably half of it as well, is when you go back and watch those clips.
That's my time period.
Triple H, you will go one-on-one with the Samoan Bulldozer, Umaga.
And that's how I
say
it. I think it's just because that's the time period I was watching.
It's funny because I've had a friend whose name was Joe, rest in peace, and he was a British fella, and he used to say, "Oh, I love that Umaga. He's a big monster, that Umaga." And I'm just like, there's no N in Umaga.
I just always did it too.
But no, and I think, because you've watched like the clips that you have seen from that period is just...
I've literally had people, like, this is probably going a bit on a tangent, but I've had people say you don't sound Australian, you sound British at times, and I was like, no, I don't, mate. Like,
oi, mate, how about that fucking Umaga,
accent, so I don't sound as British.
You seen that Umaga? Yeah? Yeah? Me and Shazza and Dazza, we were like, oh, look at that Umaga. But the reason we have picked the song is obviously... Driver picks the music.
Shotgun shuts his cake hole.
But yeah, episode 125. I always said episode 125, Shotgun shuts his cake hole. Episode 125, Driver picks the music, is very, not supernatural heavy, but it was just that little thing that Miss Crossfire and Overleash wanted to slide in there.
Yeah, because I saw the tattoos and I was like, yes, Redshaw, I have to ask you, who is your favourite
character?
And again,
Redshaw mentioned a strap match. There was a recent strap match, so then my brain went to the other strap match. It's all connected, all right?
The straps.
It's like the Marvel multiverse. There's an infinite amount of branches, and I'm just blindly, pun not intended, because I'm blind as fuck. I'm just blindly grabbing at strands right now, trying to string some sort of multiverse together and make it make sense. But with that being said, Redshaw obviously very strongly Adelaide-based, but specifically with Riot City. And the big one coming up, October 5th. If you're in South Australia or if you've just recently won the lottery, first off, give us a loan. Second of all, if you have the money to fly to South Australia or, hell, drive to South Australia for 2 or 3 days at a time, whatever it is, go to RCW Riot City Wrestling Power Trip on October 5th. The tickets will be in the description below. And speaking of RCW, of course, all of their socials will be there. Their YouTube will be there, which does have so much. But something that Redshaw mentioned in this conversation, and I've got the link copied in front of me now, is the Riot City Wrestling Vault. Now, this is part of the Riot City website itself, but I've copied it to that exact tab. It'll take you to, obviously, the YouTube has, promo videos and interviews and standalone matches and et cetera, But if you just go to riotcitywrestling.com/RCW-Vault, which again, it'll be down there below, so you can just click on it. It basically takes you to the Riot City version of, for lack of a better term, the WWE network.
Yeah.
Because pretty much everything ever almost is there. And I tested this out just to see if it worked before. If you wanted to search by wrestler and you wanted to search Redshaw, it's kind of appropriate that as we record this, he has 47 episodes of his show because 47 results come up for shows that Redshaw is on. That's how many matches I've had in my entire career. It's 47. And it shits me off because it's an odd number and it may never change, but that's another story for us another day. You can go there and you can filter by wrestler. You can filter by year. So if you want to watch Delta matches to celebrate that she's going on to bigger and better things, or maybe you just miss her, you can do that. If you want to watch some Matt Hader matches, you can do that. But, more importantly, as I said, if you want to watch some Redshaw matches, you can do that. I was just flicking through before we started this intro and outro, and I was just showing Nova, and I was
Yeah, it's just
the
awesome
fact that
how they've got it set up.
it's always a mind-boggling when you really look at how far technology's come. And we even did quickly talk about that at the start of the conversation where Redshaw said, he got involved early Ruthless Aggression era, and even that was obviously before they were HD, but even then, the camera quality and everything was, so much better. And it's just crazy to think that not only do we have this technology, but the fact that Australian wrestling has this level of production is...
It's just phenomenal.
Wow. Like, just cannot, stress that enough. All of Redshaw's stuff will be below, follow him on, Instagram, Facebook, X, or Twitter, as he said. I still call it Twitter. I'll be cold dead in the ground before I recognise it as X, if I can steal a line from Grandpa Simpson. But yeah, definitely check out the RCW Vault website, because it's just ridiculous in the best way possible. I cannot stress that enough. And obviously, both of mine and Nova's link trees will be there. You can find all of the podcast socials, including the Patreon, where, as we said in the intro, $5 Australian, $3 US. You can get early access. I probably should have done the full spiel in the intro as well, but you get early access for $5. $10 gets you early access plus the ability to ask us any question or answer any topic in the intro of the most current episode upon us seeing the request. $15 Australian lets you get both of those perks. Plus, you can even pick a topic for a full episode that either myself or myself and Nova, which is the most likely the two, especially if you guys are paying us. We'll try and get Nova in and have fun. Sure. You can pick, whether we do a watch along, or you can pick a topic for a Markapalooza, or maybe even a few matches for Markapalooza for us to make a base for our own, or, one of my top 10s, etc., keeping in mind that if you do some of those, obviously the watch along we can pump out fairly quick. Yeah. But the other ones will take, probably 2 weeks to put together. But I said, please give us about a month's wiggle room, especially if we can get some. We're recording this. We're recording this on the 17th of September. It's not going out until the 29th. We're doing a good job of getting some in the can. So if we can continue this role, you're just gonna have to bear with us, and we'll try and prioritize you guys where we can. But sometimes things just take time. You can't rush perfection, Nova Lee. Yeah. And speaking of Nova Lee, the number 1 tier. The $20 tier, which I have called Supernova, you get all of those perks, but on top of that, when we do watch-alongs, we will be starting to do a video, whether it's our own watch-alongs just for the shits and gigs, or whether we do when we do our Rumbles once a year. We want to do more of the MLW Battle Riots, but we've just been so bloody busy. We missed this year's one. But just when we do little watch-alongs like that, or watch-alongs that you guys have suggested, we will be filming our reactions. And obviously, no footage because we don't get sued, but our reactions will be filmed, and it will be exclusive to Patreon, video only, on top of everything else. And if you do the $20 tier, you will get a shout out in the intro to every episode, as long as you are a subscriber as well, and probably the outro as well. But yeah, it's all there. As little as $5 you can support us. The most we're asking for is 20. We're not going to sit here and beg you guys for cash, because we know times are tough. But if you do have the spare cash, the GoFundMe for, my health and everything is there, and Nova's having her own health as well. Again, but we're not going to beg it. It's not there. It's not there to guilt trip anyone. I understand times are tough for everyone, but it's there. And in that same phase, my Amazon wish list is there. If you want to randomly surprise me by buying me a random video game or a pair of sunglasses or some sort of random ass shit, it's there.
There's something of mine on there too.
Yeah, I can't even remember. There's a few things that I put on there for you.
It's literally just the pizza cutter that I really want.
Yes! We just added the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza cutter, but because it comes from the
I'm a child.
It's like $45 because it's international only. And because it's Amazon, they can ship that kind of thing without being, flagged for it. But fuck me. But yeah, it's all there. But we'll get into these plugs and we'll get out of here because we're dragging on.
Sorry about the tangent.
But yeah, RCW Power Trip, October 5th. Below. And then we move over to Victoria. MXW Sunday Sesh, October 20th, the day before my Dirty 30. It's there. The tickets will be below. October 26th, the big one, the one that we can't stop talking about because it means a lot to myself and, as a result, it means a lot to Nova now as well. And that is the Emma Butler Memorial Show. We'll have the Radiation Kicks shirts designed by me. $30 a shirt, $10 go towards Emma. There's only 25 available. So in theory, if we sell all of those shirts on the night, that's $250 that I can directly put towards Emma's charity. Mm-hmm. And then 10% from my general merch at the end of the night will be added up and donated as well. And hell, if I, maybe I'll completely be cleaned out and all of my merch gets sold, I'll probably go screw it and chuck a little bit in extra as well. As long as I got enough money to buy some chicken Mac nuggets, which probably won't happen because it's Cara, so Macca's will be shut by the time we get out of the venue. But that's okay because I'm pretty sure we're getting pizza. But as long as I got money to get chicken Mac nuggets at some point in the next few days after the event, that's all that matters to me. It's not really the same as when I used to wrestle, but you know what I mean? Like, just as long as I got a couple of dollars for myself and Nova to get by and get some food, we're happy. But yeah, it's all there. And then November 23rd, I believe it'll be the next time you'll hear Nova do official ring announcing, unless, Lord forbid, Johnny the Joker, who we were meant to have on this show, Lord forbid if he loses his voice or whatever, or falls over, or his mask falls off, or his face paint melts, or...
Not the face
something. I'm trying to think of like some sort of real cheesy wrestling. He breaks his microphone holding hand, and for some reason, because it's wrestling, he can't use the other hand. Knock on wood that nothing happens to Johnny the Joker. But yeah, if Nova's going to be there.
Gonna bring my gear just in case.
She's going to have her cue cards and everything. Bring that gear. She's going to be on standby, but she's looking forward to sitting in the second row, in all seriousness, for that show for Cara. But yeah, the next official one will be the ECW one that I just mentioned. A Hard Day's Fight, our third show. Big show, a rematch between Jake Gibson and Ace Shack. We've just announced that we've got Cooters versus B Squared. They have squared off before in Victoria, but we're going to see it again, the first time ever in Nation's Capital. And the Cooters... I mean, I say Cooters, everywhere is Cooter country. Canberra's Cooter country, but they kind of turned on the fans a little bit at the last ECW show, so I'll be very interested to see where that goes. But
see how that gets down.
Switching back to MXW again, somewhere where the fans down that way love them, and especially in Geelong, where one of the Cooters, Robbie Parker, is from. Definitely Cooter country. All for one Rumble. The winner of that will receive a championship match for the MXW heavyweight title the next time they're in Geelong for an event. Dates pending. And the main event for that show is massive. Richie Taylor, Bobby Fish. I'm a little bit sad that, I was trying really hard to get to that, but obviously we got a medical appointment 2 weeks after, and now, obviously ECW was already a week before, but we're trying to do the things. But now with that extra medical appointment now popping up 2 weeks after, it doesn't seem to be feasible. But we've got a Rumble, Bobby Fish versus Richie Taylor. I'm trying to sell this without waffling on too much, but it's going to be an awesome show. So the link to that will be in the description as well. But just, links. Subscribe to the Patreon. Buy the pizza cutter on my Amazon wishlist to make Nova Lee happy. But no, just we really appreciate you guys. Especially hit me up on my Crossfire graphics page because, again, I know not everyone has the money, but if you need some cheap graphics or some cheap 8x10s, and
definitely.
I on my Fiverr page, which, again, if you're more comfortable doing it that way than transferring me the money directly, then by all means. But on my Fiverr page, my tagline is "Get caught in the crossfire at great quality work at a quality price." It's kind of fucking cheesy, but I feel like it works. But yeah, just all the links are there. Thank you, Redshaw, for coming on. I do apologize again for forgetting to mention Beers and Brawls. 47 episodes as of this recording. So he said once a month, so maybe a new one will be out by then. I don't know. But yeah, the big one for RCW, October 5th, which is linked as well. But anything else you want to add to this?
I was just going to say, thank you to Redshaw for filling out our application form too and being the first to do that, because that's awesome, because it's just a thing that we're trying to implement now so we can find out more about our guests.
Yes.
We do a lot of background research, stalking if you will. But yeah, it's good to have some of that info
and Nova Lee,
accolades and things. It's handy.
I have made her an admin now for the Instagram page and the Facebook page as well. just because, one, I'm blind, but two, we're both the co-hosts. So
Yeah.
if I'm busy, whatever. And it was good because
Cool, I can get back.
you were like, hey,
you guys.
Redshaw messaged, got back to you and da-da-da-da. And there's a few other conversations that I've been trying to line up. And I'm like, go jump in the shower. And Novelie's like, oh, such and such messaged us while we're in the shower. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But we're all there. You can slide into our DMs and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But, if you go to, and I think I didn't do a pin post on the Instagram just because the links don't actually work on Instagram from the post. It's only the stories. Maybe I'll try and add it to like a highlight page on the
I can help you with that
thing.
Yeah,
because I've got plenty of highlights on my personal, but but I'll try and work that out. But if you go to the Facebook page, which again, either of our links, it's one of the pinned posts where currently it's got, as we record this, I've got my donations for my walks and yada, yada, yada. But one of the pin posts is the application form. You can either download the blank version that I attached on it and fill it out and either send it to us or email it to us. But I just think like having that little, what's your name? Where are you from? A little about yourself, da-da-da-da. And Redshaw was very simple. He went, Redshaw from, SA. And I basically, obviously, wrestlers these days have more than one promotion, but a lot of the times they've got more than one. So he said, I'm Redshaw, SA/RCW, and I was like, cool, working for 6 years. And then where it said, tell us a bit about yourself, he just said, I am the White Rhino, and he hit us with all of those accolades that Miss Nova
fantastic, because it really helped me.
I read out, and it was just very simple. So like obviously you can just hit us up, but we'd appreciate it if you
whatever you feel comfortable
you can do it. I would prefer. I said Redshaw did just fill it out at the link. I only did the free trial for that website, so I don't know if after the 30 days, if I'll still be able to even view the application. So just as a double check, maybe even just
something we can look
send a
into
copy
anyway,
and then email it to us yourself or DM it to us yourself. But it's just there. It's a fun little thing. I really enjoyed making it. And this has been episode 125. Driver picks the music.
And Shotgun shuts his cake hole.
I am the essential John L. Crossfire.
I am Nova Lee.
I'm so sorry for ranting. I'm trying to info dump and cram it all in. You guys have just been caught
in conversation. Shakalaka laka.